obviously the dreadful effects and debilitating effects of domestic abuse on the survivors, male and female. I want to say that again. Male and females are survivors of domestic abuse. Today, when I'm talking about perpetrators, I'm not singularly talking about men. I want to make that clear as well. I'm not singularly and exclusively talking about men as perpetrators here. In the main, men, statistically, the higher percentage of perpetrators. Doesn't mean 100%, but we cannot avoid that statistic. And for the purpose of equal standards, we say, okay, men and women are equally perpetrators. In the main, most perpetrators that I've worked with are men. And I'm going to talk about the majority of that as well. Now, if you are a woman and you identify as being a perpetrator of domestic abuse, this also will resonate and will work with you in regards to changing your abusive behavior. All right? So that is what today's topic is going to be. I've had a few questions sent to me already. I can tell that this is something that resonates greatly with a lot of people. I appreciate some of the people that have sent it to me have stated that they want it to be anonymous, the questions. And the fact that you even want the questions to be anonymous also touches on how important and also the taboo element of talking about this topic. So for today, we're going to be focused on abusive behavior and how it affects people. And we're going to look at the perpetrator angle of it in order for us to be able to determine, how can I understand this person? How can I help, assist? How can I change his behavior? Now, the first thing I will say on the topic is this. To be a perpetrator of domestic abuse does not equate automatically to you being a monster. Certain words like monster, bastard, and all the other quite explosive phrases we can use to describe other people, that is not the way I work, and that is not the way I've worked, and that's not the way I'm going to work. Because what I've noticed, and hopefully you may have noticed as well, when we start dehumanizing people, it makes it easier for us to hate those people. If we dehumanize a group of people, we are basically stating it's okay for us to hate them because they're not really humans. They are monsters, they are bastards, they are all those other phrases. In therapy, it's not about I choose who my client is and I choose what a lovely person this is and I'm casting judgment on this person. In therapy, it's not about judgment. In therapy, it's about looking at the other human being sitting across from you and trying to find a way to connect to that humanity, find a way to understand what ills that they've brought in to the session. So my job is to look beyond the headlines, look beyond the social castigation of someone. It's to look directly at that human being and try to open them up, understand what lays beneath, and then hopefully put them back together and see a different outcome. Because if you think about it, we're connected to our thoughts, our feelings, and our action. So our cognition, our feelings, and our behavior. So for today, let's get into it and look at the perpetrator itself. If you've got a question, if you want to join in, and when I say join in, you may feel you want to talk about this, you want to question this, you want to challenge some of the things I'm saying. This is an open space. So if you do feel that what I am saying does not quite resonate with your experience, please feel free to express them. Feel free to request to join in, and we can talk about it. Okay? Now, this space is open. This space is lack of judgment, if we can. So as positive as we can be, let's attach. everything we do in this process. Okay? So I'll appreciate everybody else being positive enough to engage in this topic. All right? Because the perpetrator that we may be talking about may be your brother, may be your father, may be your mother, may be your husband, may be you. Now, if you were thinking that a perpetrator should be thrown away, so you're thinking it's okay to throw your husband, your father, your son away. If we did that to everyone that acts and behaves in an abusive way, in an abhorrent way, then we'll be throwing away a whole population. So rather than throwing away, I want to look at how we can address it, how we can work with it, how we can help change the behavior. So that's what this is about. And I'm going to bring in my experience in the last 12 years into today's session. Okay? So, first things first, what does a perpetrator look like? It could look like any one of the 20 people currently watching. It could look like you, she could look like you, or sound like you. There's not an identikit of, okay, he looks like this, he's got a mustache, he's got a beard, he's got whatever it may be. It doesn't work quite like that. So what I want us to look at is anyone can be in a situation where they do end up acting abusively at times. We are all not perfect, and we are all not going to be able to be at our best at all times. But what I'm looking at right now for the perpetrators is systematic abusive behavior. Not a one-time thing where I had a bad day and I shouted at you. We're talking about systematic abusive behavior. So let's get started with that. One of the questions I've had is, what makes someone systematically abusive, acts abusively, treats me in this way, dehumanizes me? Everyone is got a journey, and one answer equate to the cause and the reasons for every perpetrator's behavior. Now, in regards to this, in my experience, in my research, and in my work, what the common denominator for all the men, mostly men that I've worked with, has been a history of abusive behavior. Now, abusive behavior looks differently to different people. It could mean someone that has experienced direct abuse behavior, or it could also, and what I'm finding is someone that's experienced it vicariously, abusive behavior. What does that mean exactly, vicariously? Okay, this for me I find very important, and I hope you take a moment to just take it in for a moment. All right? What I mean by vicarious is, if I am having an argument, or I am beating my partner, or I am being abusive, and my children are present, my children are registering this event in their mind, and they're trying to make sense of it. When they're trying to make sense of things, they're trying to see if something fits. So what they do is, they look at the behavior, they look at the people in this behavior, and they may normalize the behavior, or they may identify that as a bad behavior. However, they still register it as an event. Now, when we register things as an event, the next time we're in a situation, that registration may just come through. And we sometimes subconsciously, and in most cases unconsciously, act according to what we have stored. When we're in a loving relationship, we act out what we also saw in a loving relationship. So once we see that, that is us being abused vicariously, which means if I virtue of you experiencing that in your lived experience as a child, that is seen as vicarious abusive behavior. You are being emotionally abused vicariously. And that sits with us for years. One thing that is consistent in almost every client, apart from the narcissistic ones, which I'll touch on a little bit later, one thing that's consistent within all of that is there is a source, there is an interpretation of that source of event, and subconsciously and unconsciously, there is a reliving, reacting, redoing that event. It is not automatic, where it means that because I've come from an abusive background, I'm automatically going to be abusive exactly the way that I saw. It isn't. And research always looks at why can this person or why has this person behaved this way, living in the same environment as another person, whereas the other person didn't. Now, I've had clients in which they've grown up in a household with their siblings. And one of the questions I've asked is, do you note whether your sibling is abusive as well? And in some cases, yes. In some cases, no. And I'll explain that a little bit. One of my clients has come in and has been abusive. He's been violent, abusive, to the point in which he has come to see me because he is not allowed in the family home anymore. Social services are involved. CAFCAS are involved. Now, CAFCAS, for you guys that may not be aware, are an organization that are tasked with dealing with children's welfare within the court system. So social services will present a case, it will be taken to court, CAFCAS will act on the court's behalf to determine what needs to be done in order to safeguard the child. Now, I've had clients that come in and they want to see their children again. And my job, amongst other things, my job is to write a report at the end of my therapy process to determine if this client sitting across from me has changed his behavior enough for him to have exclusive access to his child or his children. So my job is to work therapeutically with that person to identify what issues are being presented. My job is to understand exactly how this person's behavior manifests, where it's originated from, and what I can do as a psychotherapist to mold that to a point where he stops being abusive, so his children can experience him in a more positive way. So the damage that's been done to that child can start being undone. We learn behaviors, we can unlearn it with new behavior. It happens all the time. Alright? If you lose your right hand and you're right-handed, over a period of time you're writing with your left hand, you're going to adjust to writing with your left hand. We adapt. And my job is to try and get my client to adapt to a new way of thinking, a new way of experiencing those feelings, and ultimately a new way of behaving. So like I stated, what I've noticed in my years of working with this group is that there is usually a source, there is usually something, but it's not enough to be a source, an event. It's also an interpretation of that event. What I mean by that is, imagine you growing up in an abusive household where you saw your father striking your mother repeatedly. It's a regular thing. They're always arguing. Now, arguing is an interesting word. Arguing is a word I hear a lot in my work, said by the abusive partner. Yeah, we're just arguing, or we were just arguing. Now, arguing in itself is a difference of opinion. I'm coming from a different position to you. A disagreement. Or maybe, as I like to call it, a conversation. An exchanging of views. You feel this way, I feel this way. My opinion is this way, yours is this way. Where does that become abusive? That becomes abusive when it gets to a point where one party determines that I do not feel comfortable by these rules, or I am losing in this battle. So what do I have as an equalizer? Let me say that again. I am in an argument with someone, and I do not feel that I am being heard, or I feel like I am losing this battle. Because now it's become a battle. And when it becomes a battle, you need to ask yourself this question. What is the purpose of this conversation in the first place? Is it for me to express my view and listen to another person? Or is it for me to impose my views and my will on another person? This question. And what I find is the latter is more correct. So what happens in that situation where you are in a battle? Just let's think about it in a moment. You are in a battle. You're in a disagreement. A battle of words. And you feel you're losing. And you feel that you cannot win this battle. What do? What I found is in most cases of the people I've worked with, they look around for what else they've got in their arsenal. Maybe if I shout louder than she does. Maybe if I stand over her. Because what is this doing right now? It's intimidating, isn't it? And giving you that look to say what exactly. Don't mess with me. Don't piss me off. So by me saying that, I've now passed over to you responsibility for everything I'm going to do if you do not behave according to me. So as I stare at you and I stare you down, and you are not backing down, why should you? You have every right to breathe the same air and breathe the same air in the same space as I do. Something has been triggered within the perpetrator right now. What is being triggered right now is that person is feeling challenged. The insecurity is being ignited. And the thought of moving away seems like defeat. So what do? In my experience and my work and research is, they find a way to win. They find a way to get that power back. And I'm going to say something here where it's a little technical, but I think you'll be able to stick with it. Once that something within you has been ignited, we've all got that something within us that we park, we move away. I call that vulnerable feelings. So it could be loss of control, powerlessness, not feeling worthy, which means she's not listening to me, which is translated in the perpetrator's mind as she does not respect my view, does not respect me. She does not value me. So all these vulnerable feelings that I've had historically, that is already taped into my DNA, some of those vulnerable feelings are, I'm not worthy, I am weak, I am not loved, I am going to be abandoned, I'm going to be neglected. All of those feelings, like I stated last week, are feelings we don't wear on top of us and where we go. And we say, hey, how you doing? My name is Nathaniel. I'm worried about being abandoned. Hey, how you doing, girl? You cool? Yeah, I don't feel worthy at all. But yeah, let's go out. We don't wear it like that. We bury it deep into a room in which we hope that nobody would ever go into that room, open the door, and see all those vulnerable feelings that we spent most of our lives running the hell away from. We run the hell away from it. Why won't we? I'm not prepared right now to deal with the fact that I feel unloved, unworthy, powerless, loss of control, not valued, a piece of crap. So, all those things I've just said, let's put it into this argument, which has become a battle. Now, within this argument and this battle, this door has been left wide open, kicked in some cases. So now, these feelings have been activated. They're right there. What the hell am I supposed to do with these feelings? Because I didn't want to deal with them in the first place. I didn't want to know they're there. I pretend they're not there. I feel weak. I'm going to go to the gym to feel so powerful that nobody is going to be able to even consider that I am weak. I'm going to have this mean mug on my face, so nobody will be able to test me or approach me or take the piss with me anymore. I feel that I'm going to be unloved. I'm not going to show anyone that I care about them enough for them to hurt me. But these are the feelings that exist already, in which I've locked into this damn room that nobody has access to. For God's sake, even me, I try to forget that that room exists within. You don't wake up in the morning going, oh, look at those feelings, those traumatic feelings and painful feelings in that room. No, we do not. So it's about understanding what is going on for this person in that argument. To the other person, it's an argument. We're just disagreeing. What is your problem? What? For this guy right here, it is a battle for survival. It is a battle to keep that door closed, shut, locked away. So what can I do to stop all these vulnerable feelings that have now been activated? Not by the other person. This is very important. The survivor, victim of domestic abuse, is not responsible for that door being wide open now. He or she is not responsible for triggering you. You are responsible for all those feelings that are within that room. You are. You put it there. You haven't worked on it. You're scared of it. It brings you pain. If it brings me pain, I'm running away from it too. Hell yeah. I don't care. Avoidant behavior. Call it wherever you want. I'm not opening that door because I'm not ready to deal with 20, 30 years of pain. Now, anyone that brings it up or when it's activated, I'm doing anything I can to stop it. If you feel weak right now, and you don't want to feel weak, what are you going to do? Okay. You're going to find a way to feel strong, right? Let me look at other things. Let me bench press. I've been to a lot of gyms for me to know the certain vulnerabilities amongst the men that I am bench pressing with. Think about that for a moment. In this argument, I feel weak. I feel like I'm losing control. And if I lose control, that door is easier to be opened. And all those feelings are ignited. And what a lot of the men I work with, what ways they have found, or they have used to push that door back closed so they don't have to deal with the reality of the vulnerable feelings, is overwhelm the person across from them that they feel is responsible for making them feel the way they feel. So that could be shouting, that could be intimidation, that could be finding ways in which they can shut the other person. The other person, in a way, is not what they're shutting down. These feelings are what they tell him to shut up. Shut your mouth. Who are you talking to? Those feelings. You don't care. Those feelings. You never even loved me. Who are you? Look at you. If I'm putting you down, my focus of attention is now on you being down. It's not on me feeling there. You know, the sleight of hand the magicians use, like, there you go. The focus is now there. Nobody's going to see that I'm hurting, that I feel like shit, that I don't feel worthy, that I am worthless. Nobody's going to look at that because we're going to be focusing on you. Look at your hair. Look at your face. Let me give you a perfect example. Everybody remembers school, right? And some people are still of that mental age. If someone calls you a name, what is your natural automatic reaction to that? Let's go really, really low. Your mom. Look at you. Look at your clothes. Look at you. You smell. You're ugly. Look at you. Look at your teeth. Buck teeth. Look at that. What are we doing in that moment? What? We're defending ourselves? Let's take it back. Let's rewind for a moment. What I like to do with my clients is I like to slow down time. I like to slow down time. What I mean by that is I've had many men that have come to me and stated, oh, I just reacted. It just happened. I don't usually do that. It just happened. Okay. Well, I'm here to look at that statement and cast doubt. Not only cast doubt, I want to blow it out of the water. So the next time you hear it, you can challenge it. Because in my experience, it just happened doesn't exist. I'm more than happy to deal with the fallout from that statement, but I'll say it again. It just happened. I just reacted. I didn't know what I was doing. Does not exist. It exists as an excuse. It exists even as a viable option. It exists even in your level of consciousness. But in reality, it doesn't exist. And I'll tell you why. And hopefully I'll be able to state it now. If someone on the school ground is calling you bad names, right? How are you feeling initially? Let's look at it. First things first. You are ugly. What is the first thing you're feeling? I'm feeling potentially hurt. I'm feeling devalued. I'm feeling exposed. What can I do about these feelings? Rather than deal with these feelings, what am I doing? It's too painful for me to deal with it right now. So let me see what else is in my armor to deflect it, divert attention away from it, or to hurt that person back. No, you're ugly. Look at your face. Look at your hair. Look at your clothes. You smell. Your whatever it may be. We are now in that situation where that, perfectly says Daisy, that vulnerability is too painful for us to deal with. I'm going to look at what is in my armor for me to deflect that feeling away, because when we're hurt, it doesn't feel good, right? So if I deflect it back on you and say, look at you, look at that, I am not thinking about my vulnerable feelings anymore. I now want to inflict the pain on you that I feel you've inflicted on me. I may just sprinkle in some interest rates on it as well, just to make it a little bit more for you, so you won't do that to me anymore. And then we become even more abusive. Now that example in itself is not to state it is the same as abusive behavior from a perpetrator. It's to show a process of action, thought, feelings, and action on top of it. To compare that. Now, in an argument, what occurs? You feel this person has exposed the vulnerable feelings. Similarly to being called ugly as a young child. You feel vulnerable. I don't want to feel vulnerable. I don't want to feel vulnerable. By virtue of this person responding back to you, talking back. Imagine that. That's something else I've heard from my clients. Well, she keeps talking back. She's no angel. I just told her to shut up, but she won't shut up. You haven't got the power to change another person's behavior. If another person wants to talk and you don't want to listen, you cannot force them to stop talking. It is not within your power, or should it be? The same way, I wouldn't want another person to have power over me. So I am unable to open my mouth and share my experience and my opinions and my thoughts and my feelings. Neither does the perpetrator, which means it is not the victim and the survivor's fault for anything that happens to them in an abusive relationship. It isn't. It is the other person, the perpetrator's inability for them to deal with their vulnerable feelings. It is their inability for them to deal with the trauma that they may have experienced, or the way they see the world based on how they have grown up. I'm a man. A woman should listen to me. She should do as I say. If that is what you want, I suggest you start dating a dog. Not a cat, because a cat will never listen to you, I've been told. I suggest you start dating a dog. Alright? If you want to date someone that's going to do exactly what you say as you command, I suggest you go to lassie.com. I'm sure there's a website called lassie.com. Maybe find a dog for you to date or something. And then you can train the dog to sit and roll over and bark and pant or whatever it may be. Or in an adult relationship, that is abusive behavior. That is controlling behavior. Now, one of the questions I've been asked is, what ways can someone show themselves, or what are the signs to look out for in an abusive situation? Last week, I mentioned the point about trusting your feelings. If it doesn't feel right how you've been treated, remember, we are responsible for teaching someone how we want to be treated. I am responsible for teaching anyone how I want to be treated. Which means once you do something in which is not consistent with the way I want to be treated, I'm responsible for checking you. Now, if I feel I can't check you because of my fears of losing you, if I feel I can't check you for fear of worse abuse, if I feel I can't check you because I'm a woman and a woman shouldn't check a man because a man is going to be abusive, everyone knows that. That's just the way the world is, so I'm going to not check you. Then that is another issue that needs to be looked at. If you feel someone is behaving a way that doesn't make you feel good about yourself, that is overwhelming, those are red flags. Perfectly timed, Kamal. Those are red flags. And red flags exist for a reason. It is to alert you that something is not right. Be careful, be wary. But sometimes, as we all know, we ignore those red flags because of what we would like to happen. I see dark clouds above. Everything in my Boy Scout training is telling me that it's going to rain. But no, I'm sure it isn't. I'm sure it's just dark clouds being dark clouds. You know how they are. I'm sure it's not going to rain. Let's go to the beach. Invariably, it's going to rain. So if you do notice not being listened to, if you do notice as someone overpowering you, your thoughts, dismissing your feelings, focused, and this is where I come into narcissistic behavior. The focus is solely on their pleasures. The focus is solely on them. Babes, I had a bad day today. You had a bad day? Listen, today this happened to me and this happened to me, this happened to me. Let's talk about me. Your bad day all of a sudden has been pushed away. Right? Because I know deep down that she's so caring and she wants to be seen as such a good partner, good wife, good girlfriend, that she's going to give me the attention that I crave. It's all about me. And once we're finished basking in the glory that is me, we'll do what I want to do. If those are signs that you have noticed in your relationships previously, now, or maybe you are the one acting in this way, those are red flags. Something is not right. What you do about it, it's up to you. This is an autonomous space. This is the therapy hour for that purpose. For us to look at how we can ease and heal from that. Let's look at the next question. What are ways in which an abusive person they can win you back? What are the ways in which they can behave to convince you that they will never do the things that they've done for the last 6 years again? One thing is consistent is the power element. And in some cases, a lot of people are in these relationships for their own needs. A lot of people are in these relationships because they've got their own vulnerable feelings. So the thought of losing this person, whether he's abusive or not, is scary. It is definitely scary. If you've noticed, you may have, let me know by show of, I don't know how this thing works, hands, waves or whatever, or yes. How many people have you experienced that have been victims and survivors of domestic abuse? And once you have that conversation with them, they are making excuses or justifying the other person's behavior. We notice that sometimes we are making excuses for them because we want to believe what we've been told. The ways in which they may come back into the life is, I'm sorry, I'll never do that again. I was having a bad day. You know how I get sometimes. It's just, I get angry at this situation. It's not me. I've had a bad day. I'm just pissed off. This happened to me. You know not to say stuff like that to me. You know how it gets me. Putting ownership of that behavior and responsibility back to you. You are now responsible for this person slapping you. You are now responsible for this person shouting at you. You are now responsible for causing this behavior. Manipulation. Now you see it, now you don't. He's the one abusing you. Now you're the one that's caused it. Manipulation. Sounds like a song that you hear in Greece, right? Manipulation, or whatever it may be. It is real. That you would now start believing that, okay, next time I won't shout. Next time I won't raise my voice, or I won't talk back. Or next time I'll make sure that I've cooked dinner for him, because if I don't, I know what I'm going to get. And why? If he's told me he doesn't like this, and I still am. It is my fault. It is. So now I am taking ownership. I've taken away the responsibility of this abusive behavior from him or her, and now I am the one that is responsible for this behavior. It is me. It is my fault. If I didn't do that, it wouldn't have done that. Stop. In the beginning of this, I said, he or she is responsible for his abusive behavior. If you provoked me, or you do things that I do not like, I am responsible for regulating my behavior that it doesn't become abusive. You are not to blame. It is not your fault. It is never your fault for another person's behavior. You're not that powerful to be responsible for another person's behavior. You haven't got a gun in your hand, bullet within it, and pointed right at his temple and saying, beat me. If you don't, I'm going to pull this trigger. You're not responsible for it. So manipulation is a way in which the perpetrator finds his way back in to the household. Does it mean that every time someone tells you I've changed, you shouldn't believe them? What I will say is this. Go to a shop, pick up a good, about to leave the shop with it, and the person asks you for the money, and you say, trust me, I've got it. No, I've got it. Trust me, I've changed. Goes to the next question, which is one that I've been getting for the last last 12 years when people find out the field in which I've worked in, and I still work. Can someone that is abusive change their behavior? Now, that is the question. That is the big elephant in the room. Can you change your abusive behavior as a perpetrator of domestic abuse, as a perpetrator of abusive behavior, full stop? I believe, based on my experience working in this field, that it is possible. I believe, based on the data and the feedback from the work I've done for the last 12 years, that it is possible. I believe, based on regularly do a year and 2 year checkup of all my clients for the last 12 years, that it is possible. I hope that answers your question. Is it absolutely possible in every human being? Depends on the individual. Depends on what they're there for. Now, I've talked about manipulation. Now imagine, I've experienced manipulation many times before as well. So much so that I feel like I've got a smell for it when I notice it or when I see it. So maybe I can look at ways in which maybe you can be able to identify as well. I have clients that come into the sessions and they're aware that this guy is going to be writing a report, sometimes a 3,000 word report, 4,000 word report that is going to be sent to the courts, that the judge, social services, CAFCAS, partner are going to read, and it's going to have an impact onto their decision making. It's not going to be exclusively my report that's going to determine the outcome of that court case. But my report is going to look at ways in which, is this person at a point now where it's changed? So it is important. And when I say important, it is important that I am on point in the job that I do. So when a client comes in and I can sense that they're going to manipulate me, and how do you notice this, Nathaniel? Okay, I'll tell you. Saying the right things all the time. Not addressing or not being aware of their own behavior. Not addressing the issue. Not taking responsibility for the action. No, it wasn't. It's not like that. She did and then she did. You're not ready. You are not there yet. Now, as you can imagine, I don't suffer fools gladly. And even more so in therapy. Because I know what's at the end of it. I know I can keep my eye on what the prize is. And the prize is always, for me, the client in front of me changing his or her abusive behavior. The partner that this person is potentially going to go back to. The children that are going to be living with this person and experiencing this person's behavior, that are going to be abused by him, either directly or vicariously through his behavior, that are going to use that as learned behavior, that in the future, they turn around and become my client again. That is what my focus is on. All those things are what my focus is on. So I have to be on point. So when a client is there and is trying to manipulate me, Nathaniel, you're so good. You've opened my eyes to all these things. I didn't even know that before. Thank you. I didn't even know I was like that. Oh my God, I've been doing this all this time. Oh my God. Now I've seen it. I'll never do that. Yeah. After 2 sessions. Now I'm good. Bloody hell, I'm not that good. After 2 sessions? No. So in that situation, I'm aware that you are trying to please me. You're trying to say all the things that I want to hear. The same way his partner has been manipulated by him or her saying the things that he knows that his partner wants to hear. What do you want to hear? I want to hear that he's changed. I want to hear that he's never going to do that again. I want to hear that his abusive behavior is not going to be repeated. I want to know that he loves me so much, he's going to stop hitting me, putting me down, ignoring me, degrading me, controlling me. That's what I want to believe. So the perpetrator knows you so well because he knows your vulnerabilities. He knows what you're afraid of. He knows what you want to hear. So invariably, of course, he's going to say that. Yes, I'm going to change. I've changed even. I'll never do that again. Trust me. I love you. I love you. I love you so much. I don't want to lose you. That's why sometimes I love you so much. I just want to hold on to you. I'm scared of losing you. Now, you may feel valued and loved. Like, this guy really loves me, and part of his issue is just how to control his love for me. No, his issue is how to control his vulnerable feelings. His issues are how to manage those feelings that he hasn't worked on. And by virtue of you existing in a way, it triggers his vulnerability. By virtue of you looking beautiful, confident, strong, kind, loving, gentle, generous, is highlighting all the things he or she doesn't feel within. So I must clip the wings of this beautiful bird. I must put her down. So those are the things to look out for from a manipulative part. Those are the things that I want you to keep an eye on. Hello, Cherise. Now, Cherise is a psychotherapist as well, you see. And she's got vast experience in therapy and also dealing with trauma and victims of trauma and rape. So hello, Cherise. Thanks for joining. One of the questions from Dayo was, if you are a friend, a relative, and you notice this behavior from the survivor or the victims of domestic abuse, how can you help? What can you do? Support that friend by being there for them, if you can. What you see doesn't mean it's what the world sees. Now, what I'm looking at right now is not exactly what you are looking at right now. I can't see what you see. So sometimes people are not ready to see it, acknowledge it. People are not strong enough for them in that moment to admit that, yep, I'm being abused. Yep, he's not changing. Because as soon as you acknowledge that and you admit that, you've got a decision to make. And not everyone is in a position to make that decision. I've got 2 kids with him. I don't want to leave him. Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? Those are some of the things that goes on in those people's minds. Now, we've come into the end of our session today. And there's so many questions I wish I could get into. Now, if you let me know that you want us to continue this topic next week, please let me know. In the DMs or in the comments right now, we've got about 30 seconds to go. I want to thank you for joining. I want to thank you for attending, and I appreciate you taking that time out of your day to talk, discuss, express your opinions, and add value to the therapy hour. I really do. Let me know if you want this to continue next week. Let me know if you want me to continue covering this. Let me know if it's something that, if you do, you want to join in next week, please let me know. And what I'll do then, I'll release a message tomorrow and say, yes, I'm going to be talking about it. And if you want to join me, maybe share your experience. We've had a topic on the victims. We're looking at the perpetrators today. Maybe tomorrow we can look at both, how they can coexist. And maybe we can answer some of those questions. So if you do, let me know. If I get maybe 15 requests for another topic on this, I will do it next week because there's a lot to talk about. Because next week I may be able to talk about what I use to change their behavior, distract.